Welcome to the Level Up Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, John. I got with me tonight my guys in crime, Wesley Jarrett. I got Mr. James, and I also have CJ. We're going to get into some Super Bowl talk, also some big trades in the NBA we had this past weekend, and they're still going. So we're going to get to some hot topics and hope y'all enjoy. So we're going to hop into this. First question we got for tonight is with the Super Bowl 59 coming up this Sunday at 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Central Time between the Philadelphia Eagles and the two-time defending Kansas City Chiefs. So the question is, who is your X factor player for each team? I will start off with James, then we'll go to CJ, and we'll end with Wes.
Hey, what up? What up? Hey, for me, Pacheco for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he'll be an X factor player because he's been sleeping a little bit. He hasn't been himself since he returned from that injury. So if he can show up and be an impactful player in this Super Bowl, I think he'll make a big difference in this game. If he could open up that running game, he'll free up, some plays downfield, open up some plays for these receivers to be able to make a lot more plays out there. So I think he'll definitely be the difference maker for them if he can, step up and have a solid game. He can't have a mediocre game like he's been having. He has to have a big game. We ain't saying he got to rush for over 100 yards, but if he can rush for 75, 80 yards, and making, and be grinding on the ground, that'll open up the game. Now, for the Eagles, I'm looking at the Eagles, man. I think they D-line, the defensive line,
Okay.
has to be the X factor for them, man. If they can go ahead and rush, rush four and just apply pressure with their four, I think that'll open up everything. And then all you got to do is put one spy there for Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna outrun. You know what I'm saying? One of those fast linebackers or whoever you put a spy on him. But the thing is, you can't let Mahomes get out the pocket. So D-line, handle the offensive line of the Kansas City Chief and give your defense a chance to get a blitz up in there. So that's the two X factors for me.
All right. CJ, what you got?
Man, X factor for me is always for the Chiefs, Mahomes. I don't know. I mean, the boy himself he makes magic happen. Um, Side throws, knowing when to run,
Mm-hmm.
knowing when to do a little flick pass or something like that. He has proved to me, without a doubt, besides Tom Brady, you don't bet against that man if he's in the playoffs. And he has made it to the Super Bowl, and the only man to beat him right now is Brady. So it is a lot for the other team, the Eagles, to try and do. But for me, the X factor for the Chiefs, and always be the Chiefs, for them, it will be Mahomes, because he put that team on his back every time, and he'll make it work. And then for the Eagles side, X factor, I think it's kind of like a gimme, but the X factor is probably going to be Saquon. Reason being is because Saquon, he's the difference maker from last year to this year.
Mm-hmm.
From your last Super Bowl, when they met up to where they are now. If he has a good game, if he can get some good runs off, good, you know what I'm saying, take that pressure off Jalen, there's a good chance the Eagles can win that game, could win. But if they could stifle him, keep him under control, and he doesn't get off on the offense side of the ball, and they force Jalen to throw, it may play a whole different route. So those are my X factors for them.
Okay. All right. So, Wes, what you got, man? We done heard Pacheco,
Yeah.
Eagles defensive
Mhm.
line. We done heard Patrick
Mhm.
Mahomes and Saquon. Who you got?
I think the X factor for Kansas City is going to be Kelsey. I think you turn back the clock, you get that 1-2 going again, and rely on that defense. And I think it's gonna be the difference between this game, and it comes down to a special teams kick for the win.
Okay. All right. That's
Um,
for the
as
Chiefs.
far as Philadelphia, my X factor for them, that is definitely going to be. I agree with James. I think that defense, but mainly Fangio, the defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I think he's got to be the X factor. 2 years ago, the Eagles had a 24-14 lead against the Chiefs at halftime. They lost. So, Andy Reid just came back and just absolutely just put a clinic on. So I think for them, in order to win, yeah, a lot of things need to happen. Hurts is good with the pressure. He's one of the best quarterbacks when you blitz him, and that's what Spags does. He blitzed. So, in fact, I think Kansas City they blitzed only second uh, to the Vikings. I think the Vikings were number one in the league as far as blitzing as much, putting the pressure on the quarterback. But um, Hurts has to play a complete game. Saquon, uh, he needs to do Saquon things, and Kansas City Chiefs defense is pretty good. They have not given up, but that game against the Broncos that they lost where no starters were in. But other than that, no team has scored over 30 points on them. And they've only scored over 30 points once. And that was when they had to beat the Bills their last game out. So I think the defense is probably going to be up to the challenge. Spag's going to have them going, but it's all going to rely on that Eagles defense. It's a different defense. They have a very good defense. In fact, I think they're actually ranked, first in the NFL for total defense. But in big games, the Super Bowls, the last two they've been in, that defense has just kind of been lackluster. So they're going to have to get that together.
I totally agree. That's good. I like that. We kind of got some agreements on there. My two X factors is opposite of what James said. He said Pacheco. I think Kareem Hunt is going to get in there. The guy actually, this is his second chance in really redeeming himself. And so this man's going to be in the Super Bowl. He was so overjoyed when he first got there, got back with him. I mean, he held it down for the running back field for him for the Chiefs all year, even with Pacheco being out like 8-9 games. I just think he gets in there and he just has that energy. And maybe he gets there in the goal line, maybe scores 2 touchdowns for him. And maybe that'd be the one that puts them up to where that, Philadelphia doesn't have enough time to finish out. So, without giving my pick away. But anyway, the Eagles side, I've got Devontae Smith. While a lot of players is going to be trying to, everybody knows Saquon Barkley we've been watching highlights the last probably 3 weeks to a month in the playoffs. This guy's getting one cut, getting up the field, getting 60-yard runs, 50-something yard runs. So my thing is, if they're going to stop the Eagles, they're going to have to stop Saquon or at least slow him down. Well, when you do that, somebody's going to be open. But I think they're going to mix match their defense some, where they're going to probably put somebody over the top of Brown. But the one guy that's in the slot is the Slim Reaper, and that's Devontae Smith. That's my X factor with the Eagles. I just think he's that type of guy. He's very low key. He's been like that since he played at Alabama. He just makes the right plays. He knows how to run routes, and that's one thing in this game. If you can just beat your man over and consistently beat your man throughout the game, where they can't even hold you, I think Devontae Smith's going to come down with that MVP. Well, actually, yes.
Hey, CJ, I'm not going to let you get away with those easy picks of X factors. It's hard to pick X factors that they're going to be the difference makers anyway. They're going to have that impactful game, man. So it's hard to pick Saquon Barkley, and that's an easy thing to do. A guy who could possibly be MVP. Yeah, the X factor got to be someone outside that needs to step up to make a difference to help Saquon Barkley's efforts, because he may have a big game, but nobody else steps up. You lose the game anyway, right? So you got to have that X factor. So you need to find another one. Give me another pick.
I can get then who's gonna have to step up then for me is gonna be Jalen then on the Philadelphia Eagles side. Eagles side, because if you're me, if I'm hearing all year that hey, we make Jalen throw, we'll win the game. So what they're saying is you're a bad quarterback. That means you can't throw in the tight windows. You can't hit your quarterbacks in stride. I mean, hit your receivers in stride. So I'm gonna bring the blitz. I'm gonna bring the pressure. I'm gonna do what I can to keep Jalen to making him throw. I'm gonna sometimes play in prevent coverage. Just send 3, drop back 8, and make you have to do a read.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna test Jalen in every way possible for the Eagle side. For the Chiefs, I had to pick an X factor. It'll be Xavier. I think it's Worthy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Xavier
Worthy.
Worthy. I had him in mind too. Yeah.
Because he is the reason I would pick him was because he is exactly what Tyreek Hill was for those guys. They have Hollywood Brown, but Hollywood Brown, if y'all saw, he can't. To me, he doesn't make good wide receiver judgment. They had a ball get thrown towards the sideline, I think, and he stepped out of bounds. Part of his body was out of bounds instead of catching, that being aware and making a good catch that would have given him the first down. And so I would say it'll be Xavier Worthy, and he'll be the X factor for the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. James, you cool with that one?
Yeah, man.
James didn't jump on me, and I said Kelsey. Yeah, I just want to put that out.
No, see,
man.
but Kelsey be slipping
Kelsey's
sometimes.
been a little bit. Yeah.
Kelsey been
Yeah.
slipping sometimes. He needs to step up.
And give Hollywood Brown some credit, man. He's played one game this whole year. That's
That's
situational
true.
awareness.
He has only played. He's been injured, man. He's hard on him. No. We'll go ahead and go to the second question for the night. So now we've got that out the way. Who are you going with to win the Super Bowl? All right. So Wes, you went last. I'm starting with you. Then I'm going to CJ, and then I'm going with James, and I'll go last.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, man, it's hard to go against Mahomes and Andy Reid. I mean, it truly is. I think you're going to get more of that three-peat. I think it's going to happen. That's my opinion on it. I already said it's going to come down to a Bucker field goal late for the win. So, but I like it. And to go back to James saying Jalen and all. Hey, the last time when they were blitzing them, he wasn't hurting them in the air. He was hurting them on the ground.
Yeah,
I mean, he
that's
ran
true,
for
yeah.
3 touchdowns, and I mean, he was
legs.
beating them that way. So it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game, but I got a KC pulling it out.
Okay. CJ, who you got?
Chiefs, man. Until you got to prove to me you can beat Mahomes. If you ain't beat Mahomes, hey, you see what the Bills thought? Oh yeah, we beat them in the regular season. Hey, can you beat them in the playoffs?
Now you're not picking the Chiefs just because they're in the same division as your Washington Redskins or Commanders.
Yeah, and that's another one.
Okay. I knew that was probably the reason.
Truthfully, it was just because Mahomes is Mahomes.
Okay.
Yeah, Mahomes is something else. Even if the Commanders had got there, I would have picked. If I had picked the Commanders, it would just been on the strength that they was my team. If I had to really analyze and choose, it'd probably still be Mahomes because Mahomes is just that good. Until these guys, like I said, it's Mahomes, and then you drop a tier and start talking about the other quarterbacks. So Mahomes is by itself.
All right, James, who you got in it?
Look, this one is a hard one, but I'm gonna put it like this: when Michael Jordan played, I couldn't stand Michael Jordan because he beat the Knicks all the time, and my Knicks didn't have a chance. And right here, I'm not a Kansas City fan. I'm not an Eagles fan, but it's no different here. Mahomes trying to go for 3. I'm trying to go for the underdog. I don't want to see him be winning 3 Super Bowls in a row. So I'm gonna be a hater, and I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Eagles. But I'm gonna back it up too, though. I'm not just saying the Eagles, but I'm gonna back it up. We know that Kansas City most likely they could win the game, and the probability is they're probably favored to win. By most of the football world. But Eagles does have what it takes. They have what it takes to win it. They got a defense, and Wes was just talking about that. They won 12 of the last 13 games. and their defense been stepping up in that process. So the defense is stepping up. We know Kansas City's offense, it's there because Mahomes makes so many things happen. And then Kelsey knows how to read that zone, and he knows how to sit there and find spots open. So they got to make it uncomfortable for him. Now, if the Eagles want to win this, and I believe they probably learned from the last Super Bowl they lost from Kansas City. So I think they're going to probably study film and watch how Mahomes is getting out there. And hopefully they're taking my advice and putting a spy there for Mahomes so he's not using his legs, getting those extra yards. And they need to do that. So Eagles, but even though I think Saquon most likely can be the one, to have a big game, but I'm going to say that Hurts needs to have the bigger game. He needs to throw the ball, make plays, use his leg, and win MVP. If he can't win the MVP, he's probably not doing enough, and they're probably not going to win.
All right. So initially, I had the Chiefs. I even had a score of 31-28. But since everybody's going for the Chiefs, I'm sorry, I'm changing my pick. All right. Eagles. I said it.
I went for Eagles. I ain't
so you go for the Eagles. Okay, so me and you both.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be 50-50 on this one. Okay. Only one person we ain't got on here is Amon. We'll get his pick later. Now, let's just be real. It goes back to what we were saying earlier. And CJ picked out the easy person for X Factor. Let's just get real. If Saquon goes off like he did in the last 5-6 games, I mean, they open up a hole and just a sliver of a hole. It's going to be a long day for the Chiefs. This is the first time I've seen a player. Had they played him the whole season, the man could have easily had 2,000 yards rushing. But he was smart and he wanted to come out. He's humble about it. He wanted to let some other guys play and he wanted to rest up. So more credit and power to him. But I will say the only difference is this year, as you guys have already stated, that would keep the Eagles in the game. It's their defense. Have y'all seen Jalen Carter? Man, have y'all seen him push linemen around? Wait till you see that matchup on the line. Jalen Carter is a grown man. I mean, like, he's pushing people off like, child, please, and just sitting to the side. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I think with him coming up the middle, as well as you got Nolan Smith, who's an edge rusher, the safety that the Eagles have, the cornerbacks, and I think they still led the league in pass defense. So they just have it on the defensive side. They really changed some things around, and I think the Eagles I think it's gonna be close. I do say it's gonna be a field goal, but I got a score of 31-28 Eagles this time. So sorry to have
hey, check this out. I had somebody from work, they flipped it around. They say Eagles gonna win by 3 points, 38-35, like KC beat them last time.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna see. I like the scores. I like the predictions. And speaking of predictions, we're gonna go into question number 3. Who are you predicting to win the MVP for the game? I'll start off with this one, and then I'll go work my way with CJ, James, and then back to Wes. My MVP for this game, and if I've got already, I've said, normally I would say Saquon, but I think it's going to be when Saquon's going to get them to the goal line, 20-yard, the red zone, everything. But I think it's going to be Jalen Hurts and that push, just needing a couple yards around the goal line, and he's going to score for maybe 2, even 3 touchdowns. That's who I got as MVP. If they're going to even win, he has to play well. He cannot have turnovers. Long as he takes care of the ball, and even given that dimension, he doesn't have to have 300 yards passing, but if he has at least 200 plus, about 50 to 75 yards rushing, and maybe 2-3 touchdowns, I think that would be the difference. What say you, CJ?
Mahomes.
Okay.
It's very easy, man. Mahomes.
All right. You gonna drop the mic? You just dropped the mic like that? You said Mahomes, huh?
Nothing else.
Okay.
Hey, what James said? James said, "Hey, when you see Jordan, that's what it's like right now."
I got you.
That's what it's like.
You gotta prove.
Jordan on the field, huh?
You gotta show. Hey, anybody else that wanted it, you gotta prove it, man. I can't go off hope now.
I got you. Hey, but I will say this. Mahomes did lose at least one Super Bowl. Jordan didn't. But anyway, we're going to keep going. Go ahead, James.
Oh man,
It's
this
because Jordan didn't play Super Bowl.
I got you.
I'm going with Hurts too. Everything you said is exactly what I already had in my mind. Like I said, Barkley can have a good game, and he's probably the likely candidate when you look at the Eagles because you know he's expected to have a big game. But
Mhm.
Hurts has to have a big game, which I just said. He has to have a big game, which means he has to throw for 225 plus yards. He has to rush for 50 to 60 yards, and those have to be effective, including the big first downs and getting those tush push to get in the end zone. So I think if he has that big game, man, Barkley's gonna do his thing. That's gonna open up the game for everybody anyway. If he's actually making passes and using his legs and using that tush push to get those extra downs. So yeah, Hurts got to be MVP to win this.
All right, Wes, what you got? What do you say? Who's the MVP?
Like, I'll tell you what, you're going to love this. It's going to be a co-MVP. Kelsey is going to throw for a touchdown, and
Okay.
Mahomes is going to be with him. So, I mean, I'm not saying Mahomes is catching it. I'm just saying my man is going to turn back the clock. He is going to have some Kelsey Swift magic going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
all the Swifties are going to be at the Super Bowl because he wants to look good for his girl. She's going to put on a show as well. She's going to be a guest appearance, I'm sure. I mean, might as well. She's already going to be there, right?
Oh
Yeah.
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 So,
Oh yeah.
everything. The stars are aligning. Jupiter and Saturn, and I'm telling you, it's just gonna be a red moon.
I like that.
Like
Good
that.
pick.
All right, we're gonna see if we can see a Swift appearance. Maybe even he proposes. No, I'm just messing. I don't know if he's gonna do that. Nah, we'll keep going. So, last question with the NFL. Last night, Cooper Kupp stated that the Rams are looking to trade him immediately. Also, that Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Browns. What teams do you believe should go after them in free agency? Wes, I'll start with you, and then I'll work my way down with CJ and James, and I'll go last.
Right. And then, well, I'll tell you, I'll start with Cup. Okay. Uh, Cup's not the same player. He's, it's a lot of draft capital, and what's that? So,
And we lost you.
We lost Mike.
sorry, my daughter is here handing me everything
I
under the
got you.
sun, trying to get dogs water and everything. Anyway, no, I'm saying Cup's not the same player he was. That's a lot of gamble there. Um, you know, you'll have to invest significantly, open up some cap space with him, knowing where he's at. He's on the other side of 30.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still serviceable. He's, still a guy. He can throw the ball. He can get you, you know, 74, 75 receptions a year. He's a veteran. He can help out a younger core. I honestly don't know where I would put him. I think it makes sense with the injury to Tank Dell. He goes to Houston, possibly. Uh, but saying that, you know, hell, he could be a cowboy, knowing how they operate, which I mean would make no sense whatsoever. But he sounds like, I mean, he sounds like someone the Cowboys would go with, right? Just because he's, um, it's a gamble. But I really don't see him. Perhaps, and maybe another reason, maybe he goes to Houston is, you know, the passing coordinator is now the offensive coordinator in Houston, so that makes some sense. I can see him there. Um, you know, but I don't think. I think wherever he goes, it's you're not you're you're hoping it's the Cooper Cup of 2021, but he
Right.
has missed a lot of games in the last 3 years that he's been back, and it it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to I know he wants to be a contender. That's part of wanting to stay with the Rams because I think they have a lot of generational talent there. With Puka and that guy. I mean, that didn't help his cause, right? Because
Right. Of
now
course.
they want to, they're going to eat that and that salary. Yeah, they're going to pay a little bit towards to get rid of them, but they also save a good bit of money to go after some people in the draft and younger talent and
Just
maybe
to be
some others.
exact,
So
they're saving $20 million by keeping him.
yeah, so I mean, there you go. So I mean, possibly, possibly Houston. Um, it wouldn't surprise me though if some others made a run for him. Just to look for that veteran talent, but I just don't know who that would be. Maybe Broncos, but I don't know if he's a Peyton kind of guy. He can block. He's a good blocker. Use him in that Joker role. Set up a few different looks and packages for him. That's a possibility, but I don't know. That's what I got on Cup. Now Garrett's interesting. I could see Miles going to the Eagles. I could see him going to the Lions.
Really?
I could see him going
The
to
Eagles, as strong as their defense is already,
Oh yeah. Why not? Why not?
they're gonna have to give up
They want to
somebody
win.
to get him though.
Well, they have some young players to do it.
Yeah.
But I know it would make sense to me if I was the Bills. I would go after them because
Yeah.
they were definitely missing someone on that end, and I would want them before the Lions took them. I'd want them before the Eagles had a chance of taking them. But I know he wants to. He wants to win, and that's why he asked for a trade to get out of Cleveland
I
for
got you.
sure. I mean, plus, have you ever been to Cleveland? I mean, come on.
I've been there.
I mean,
I've actually been there.
I
I've
mean,
actually been to a
yeah,
Cavaliers
yeah.
game. It's cold there. Nobody likes it there. Let's be real.
Nobody likes it. But being cold, he can play in Philly. He can play in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
But man, can you imagine him as a Lion? Dear Lord, that'd be horrible.
All right.
I mean,
CJ,
that's scary.
CJ, who do you got, man? What do you say for Cooper Cup, and where do you see these guys? Who makes a good fit for these guys?
Like you said, Cup is getting old, so you kind of want him to play slot, play. He's a number 2 or 3 receiver, depending on who you have there at your organization. But the thing is too, I would want him to be paired up with a good quarterback. I don't want to go to somebody that's not going to throw the ball or give me an opportunity to shine. Right now, Broncos, like I said, yeah, Broncos sound good, but I don't know if he'll fit what Sean Payton's trying to do. So I got probably 2 teams. One would probably be yours, John, the Packers.
Green Bay Packers, okay.
Be the Packers, and because you want to pair them up with a halfway decent quarterback, and then the other one will probably still be what Wes was talking about with the Texans, and because you can also he can also mentor and develop the receivers that's currently there. You don't know how well Tank Dell is going to bounce back from that particular knee injury, and to get him, you might not have to trade too much. You know what I'm saying? Too much to get. See, it's a difference between trade and if they're a free agent. Me personally, I wouldn't mind him coming to Washington, but we'll have to trade something for it. No, I don't want him. So, like same thing with Myles Garrett. Love for him to come to my Commanders, but I don't want to trade up nothing significant to get him for it. You know what I'm saying? So Miles, who would want to take Miles? That one right there, I really can't say because yeah, you got contenders, yeah, Bills, but I mean, honestly, those. You're trying to find the AFC is hard enough. The AFC side is hard now. So if I'm Myles Garrett, get me up out of the AFC and put me on the NFC side. I got a better shot. Tampa Bay. Let's talk about the teams that did make the playoffs. Tampa Bay. Eagles, I think Eagles got too. It can be it's a thing about having too much because you're gonna have to give up something. You're not gonna be able to pay everybody. You're not gonna. It's not gonna spread and stuff like that. And you're talking about trading, so you're gonna take on whatever his salary is. That's at with the Browns. So
Right.
even the Commanders, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. Can we use them? Because yes, we actually do need a defensive line. We need somebody stronger there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to have them. I really don't want to trade for the how much the pieces are. You know, Atlanta. Atlanta will be a great fit for him because Atlanta got the money. Atlanta needs to plus up on their defense, but can Atlanta get him to the big game? He could probably be a difference maker. Penix is going back to step up, but if I was him, I would try to go from the AFC side to the NFC side. The AFC side is just it's more powerhouses over there than it is on the NFC side.
Gotcha.
Right now, NFC side, we could just see easily. We could say Lions and the Eagles. They've been consistent. I wouldn't even say the Commanders because we just popped our head up there for the first time this year. But if we make a solid run there next year, cool. But again, in the NFC side, those are the two teams that has been definite: Lions and the Eagles. You don't have too many. The AFC side, Chiefs, Bills.
You got the Texans defense is loaded. They already loaded.
Yeah, it's super loaded over there. You know what I'm saying? Super loaded over there. So,
all right. Well, James, who you got, man? What team should they go to?
Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp. That'd be a great fit for them because, if you look at their receiving core, it's not really impressive, man. They got Amari Cooper, and I ain't really see, much of a difference, in his game. He had a couple decent games, but I think Cooper Kupp, he's a veteran. He knows how to play the game. I don't think that he's lost anything because, when you kind of look at when what's the name? I hate saying this young kid's name. When Rams receiver got hurt, they went right back to Kupp, man, and they were hitting Kupp up, and he had 100-yard receiving game, more than 10 catches that game, so he still got game, and I think sometimes when you have multiple superstar receivers, they have to balance it. Cooper still get his love, he still get his share. You tend to forget about him. So I think he still got plenty of juice left in him. So I think going to Buffalo will be a good additive, to Shakar. I don't like saying his name neither. But he'll be a good additive there because they do need somebody who could run routes, who's effective, who can actually, be a threat in a deep ball, that 15 to 20-yard catch after the yards after the catch. So I think that'll be a good fit for him. Now, on the other side, you look at Garrison. I think there's a lot of teams you guys mentioned because Detroit would be a good fit. Commanders would be a good fit. But I'm going to find a team that probably really needs help, and I would say the Chargers because they got a solid pass defense, but the problem is their running game is weak, and they need to start building up. You know what I'm saying? To see if they could sustain on that running game. And if they could add a couple pieces there for that running game, they'll have a top defense. And I think that'll help them out in trying to, win games because their offense is getting better. And you can see that you look at the offense, you can see they got room for improvement. You can see the offense is just starting to click with the pieces they have. But I think that'll be a good fit for them over there.
All right. So I got my two teams. One, I'll start out with Kupp. I think it all depends on how Chris Godwin. I'm thinking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for them. Baker Mayfield, man, he's been solid. I mean, you look at Mike Evans and what he just achieved. All those years he's been in the league, 1,000 yards. Okay, he has to come down at some point. So I would say there, just in case Chris Godwin isn't ready to start the season off with that injury that he had. Now, I think by the timeline, he's on point or on target to do it, but we don't know if he'll be ready. So Cooper Kupp going there and having precision, Baker Mayfield likes to throw the players that he trusts. So I think he would be a good fit, just because he's going to be where he's supposed to be. For Myles Garrett, I was actually going to say the Cowboys, and the reason being is because as you have a player with DeMarcus Lawrence is on the one side, but DeMarcus Lawrence actually I haven't seen him show up in the last probably year or so. Michael Parsons, he's going to do what he's supposed to do. He's a freak. He's going to get paid. He's got paid, all that. So Myles Garrett is just he's at a place. He's time in his life. He's been a veteran, all pro. He just wants a chance to win. So with this new regime, supposedly by Jerry Jones, I think he's the only issue. Would he want to go to an organization like Jerry where he constantly gets in the way? But that's why I think that would be a good fit because, being in Cleveland, I'm about like where CJ said, I don't see him going into the AFC. When you have great players like that, they're not looking to trade them to the same division. So I'm thinking about a team like that having pressure on the other side. Can you imagine Myles Garrett being on the other side of Michael Parsons? Good luck trying to get a playoff. But I think they will do it. And Jared's just that kind of guy. He looks like he would pay more money on the defensive side than he does sometimes with the offense. Like last year, needing to get Derrick Henry, didn't do it for whatever reason. I don't know. And even Derrick Henry works out in Dallas, but for whatever reason, he doesn't do that with offensive guys sometimes. So that's what I got though. I see you about to say something, CJ. What you got to say?
But you picked a bad team. You picked a team that ain't got no potential on the offensive side. You know what I'm saying? You might well just said the Commanders, man. Yeah, he'll do great over there with the Commanders because the Dallas ain't going nowhere as long as they got Dak Prescott. That's been proven right now. They gonna stay over there on that sideline. They can't get past Jalen, and now we're gonna put
Wait a minute now. Hold up. So you don't think they even in the games they played recently when they actually were healthy and they was in those games? I'm just saying they was in those games still while they were playing Jalen with AJ Brown.
Let me tell you something. Hey, the Cowboys they gonna have to show me the money. They on the bottom half. They on the bottom half.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I think Godwin's going to be shipped out of Tampa Bay, so that might be a pretty decent little spot for him. Gotcha. And I think Amari Cooper is not going to be a Bill. So, but here's another one for you. Here's what we know: every team in the NFL wants Myles Garrett.
Heck yeah!
Every team. Mm-hmm. Maybe a handful of teams are looking for Cup.
We would love to have him in Green Bay. Please come. Even though I know it's a cold place.
Every team will open the door to Myles Garrett.
Yes, we will.
And I think we didn't talk about, but the Rams, they replaced. They need someone to replace Khalil Mack, since they trade him to the Browns. But so that's a possible spot. Maybe he just wants warmer climate. So maybe Tampa Bay would be a good spot, or Los Angeles. But yeah, that's the thing. Everyone and their mother should be calling around trying to get him into their facility to talk to him and to woo him.
I got you. We'll see where they end up going. I know they said they want to do it immediately is what Cooper Kupp stated to report. So I'm pretty sure as soon as the timeline goes after the Super Bowl, those weeks pass by, we'll see some change.
Well, they definitely want to do it sooner than later so they don't get hit with that cap.
Yep. Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into change gears and get into some NBA talk. This past weekend, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks basically just shook up the whole world. They traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. Also, De'Aaron Fox was traded to the Spurs and Zach Lavine to the Kings in a 3-team deal. What team, in your opinion, has put themselves into a better situation in terms of contending for a championship? James, I'll start with you. I'll go to CJ, and then I'll end up with Wes.
Yeah, man, this one is a hard one because all these teams, it's hard to look at them and really say they, put themselves in a better position. But if I'm gonna pick one team, I'm gonna say Dallas really looks better, and this is why. You don't need two superstar point guards, not point guards. You only need two superstar guards to lead your team to a championship. Most likely won't happen, with two superstar guards. So you only need one, but then you need a superstar big man, and that's Anthony Davis that they have picked up. So now you got an all-star point guard, all-star power forward / center. That helps you. Then they got a lot of other, active pieces. These guys are very active. They love to move. They love to hustle. I think that's what they really need. If you look at the other teams, it's hard for you to look at the Lakers and say you put yourself in a better position. To me, it really looked like you're finding a replacement for LeBron James, somebody who's able to, rebound, pass the ball, do all the stuff, Luka's doing now. It looked like you're trying to move on to the next generation. And look at Spurs, DeAndre. I mean, come on, Fox. I mean, that's just you need a ways to go to really build that team to really call yourself a contender of anything, because Fox is not the guy that's gonna do it. So Lavine, man, I don't know, that dude is more injured than anything, man. He'll bring a little excitement to Sacramento when he's healthy. But yeah, so Dallas really looked like they're really the better team that you can say that tried to make themselves a contender.
All right, CJ, what you got?
I agree with some of the points that James made, but I mean, it was a disappointment that whole trade. Everything was a very big disappointment. But I honestly feel like out of the trades, if I had to pick, I'll probably go with the Spurs. Reason why I can't say what you said about Dallas being better on roster, and this is where I think people, GMs and stuff like that, can get this messed up. It's a whole thing to be able to be to have some cohesion and be able to play together and bend off each other. Even though it looked like at very beginning we said Luka and Kyrie wasn't going to work. We said that. A lot of people said that at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Said it wasn't going to work. But them two players figured it out and did enough to get them guys all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Injuries and whatnot play this thing, but they got that far off of what, 2 years? In about 2 years, and they got that far. Yeah. And it seemed like they was gelling even more. So to make a trade to I don't know what they thought. To me, I think the Spurs, I like what the Spurs have. And I'm think now going back to you can have too much sometimes. Spurs, you got a young guy, the Wemby or whatever. Inside, he's got inside and outside game. And De'Aaron Fox can score, but he can also dish. He can also dish well. I think that's a good combo, give and take combo. You put supplementary pieces around them too. You'll have what you call the Spurs of old, as a good simple basketball, good fundamental basketball. The problem with Dallas said they defense wins games, defense wins championship. Well, the league ain't been playing defense. This is an offensive league. So where are you getting your scoring from? That's what I'm gonna look at it. Because these scores have been outrageous. Scores have been 110, 120, 130. So you're saying you want defense to going to lead
higher than that.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So you're saying you want to play into a league now that is offensive minded, and you just took the player out that putting up the most points for Dallas in the last couple of years. So we're gonna see where that goes. Lakers, I think they're preparing for LeBron to go, and you're looking for the next face of the Lakers. Yeah. Understandable. I just think it was messed up how they did these stars because none of them was prepared. I hate that the NBA is such a business, or some of these sports are such a business like that. But yeah, the Lakers, you're preparing for LeBron to go, and then you're going to heavily depend on Luka to try to carry that team forward, and you're going to have to put something around him. He's ball heavy.
Oh yeah.
Now he's not going to have no help. He's basically going to Dallas, or like you going to Atlanta with nothing. So a lot of these teams, I don't. They're not even getting to Zach Lavine trade because it just didn't make sense. Like James says, that doesn't make sense that you did all that to get Zach Lavine to be a king. That's not going to make a difference. So Spurs had the best, to me, build going forward. I don't see none. Out of all these teams that did these trades, I think the Spurs will win the championship before any of the other teams.
Okay. Wes, what do you say?
I say the only ones that lost out of that trade is the Chicago Bulls because they absolutely got just bent over at the coals with what they did. Now, I'm all for. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that LeBron didn't know, right? You know what I mean? Like the man had to know. I was just having a dinner with my family, and I found out. No, man, I'm sure they have the same agent. I'm sure that agent said something to him, a couple of days before it happened. He was all right, cool. This is what I got. All right. You're talking about someone that gets hurt too. Look at AD. Look Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
look at that dynamic duo now that's going to go. And I like it. I think it was a good move for them as well. But the Lakers are lacking that big man. Now, can they score? Absolutely, can they score? And they're going to score a lot as soon as they get back. They got some good pieces there, some good veteran with Morris and the other. I get his name. I went blank, but. They're going to be able to score. And LeBron has played ball heavy, and he has played with others that were ball heavy. It's not going to be an issue.
Okay.
It's not going to be an issue.
All
The issue is going to be defense. But we don't have to worry about that because the NBA, you don't play defense anymore. I mean, you might as well bring back the MTV Jam. We'll get the 10-point bucket down. And I mean, it's just it literally like within 2 minutes of a game, they're chunking 30 plus threes. And that's why a lot of people aren't watching it anymore. I mean, literally, they get the highlights, is what they get at the end. And it's a lot of just back and forth, back and forth. It is. I mean, that's just how it looks. And I don't know about you, but a lot of it. Dallas also, they can say, "Hey, I'll let him go. I'll let Luka go because we're worried about his, he might be the mound to rebound number 2, and he's looking a little, chunky. Got some love handles. My man looked freaking fit in that turtleneck in that press interview. He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He looked like he was in game shape. I mean, maybe my midnight snack. Maybe you just need to tell him, look, he's I almost cursed there, my bad. He's 25, my man. I mean, it's young.
I think he's 24. I think
he's 25. He'll be turning 26. He's 25. He'll be turning 26.
He's 25.
He did turn 25. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be 26 in February.
He's 26. Yeah, this month.
But I mean, I'm 44 years old, and I like an Uncrustable myself. I can't blame him. But you got money, and the Lakers have money. You don't think they're going to have him on some regimen and him training and him, who's in the best shape that you've ever seen? Probably LeBron. And who had probably the best, other than MJ in the league, who had the best overall just, attitude and training? It's Kobe. So the Lakers are more than capable of getting that man into fighting shape. They're not going to have an issue. I think the Spurs also won. I think the Kings won. Darren Fox is a Popovich player. He's an all-star, and you mentioned he can score, but you also missed he can play D.
Yeah.
So you have a defensive lockdown at guard and a 7-foot monster that can just has range for days. I
Wes,
mean, it's crazy.
let me get a quick rebuttal from James. James wanted to go at you about something. Go ahead,
Go,
James.
Hey,
go.
yo, no, it's not necessarily just a rebuttal on West. It's just a rebuttal and on a couple of things. Look, so and agreements as well. But if you look at, there's a big man issue, right, in Lakers, on the Lakers, because they did, trade their big man. So they got a big man issue, and scoring is not an issue for them. We know that. Now it's less defense too, right? With the Lakers now, you
Right.
got somebody also rid of somebody who played defense, right?
Right.
So now if you look at Dallas, that was an issue for Dallas too. Now Dallas, you got bigger when you already had size, but
Yeah.
being big is not a problem though, right? Because you got a guard like in Kyrie Irving, we know what he can do, and you still got Spencer Dinwiddie that could come and still give you offense. Max Christie, solid players. You got Lively. PJ Washington plays like a guard because he dribbles the ball and he plays big also. So Dallas technically are not losers. When you have two guards like that, I know CJ, you mentioned they went to the championship. Nobody expect them to make it. They made it, but this year they don't look like they was making it back. I don't think nobody's disagreeing that they wasn't making it back. Exactly. So you might, find some kind of magic, and it was because of their big man and their big play is really what helped them get over the hump. Did Dallas lose any scoring? No. Davis, 25 points a game, 12 rebounds a game. What, two point whatever block shots a game. You see what I'm saying? So they didn't lose no offense. So they still gonna score, and they added defense, added a big man. So Dallas definitely a winner. Did not lose no scoring, and honestly, it would be hard for Luka Doncic to win a championship, man. I think he's gonna start figuring that out. And I think he's going to start understanding being ball dominant is not the key to winning a championship. And that's what he needs to learn. And he's going to learn that with LeBron James, because LeBron James needs the ball too. So he's going to start learning how to play off the ball a little bit. And that's probably going to help improve his game.
Yeah. Well, I never said Dallas was a loser. The losers, Chicago Bulls. But they have that little extra that you have Thomas and you have Kyrie trying to get out. Now, when Kyrie leaves, Dallas is going to be a loser.
Golly, Kyrie's always trying to go somewhere. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. So right now, I mean, they can right the ship. They can head steady. I don't see them winning a championship. I mean, if winning championships was easy, we just call everybody the Kansas City Chiefs. But but now, I mean, look, the Spurs won. Dallas, I can see what they're doing. I mean, the loser, honestly, other than the Bulls, is Luka, because he missed out on over $100 million because of what they did to him in Dallas. I mean, money talks.
The one thing I would say for my take on it is, as James stated, and I think you stated, I think all of us have kind of stated that Dallas to me is actually immediate impact for contending. Definitely them. Anthony Davis, actually, before he had this calf strain, man, he was actually on a tear. We know we had him playing, and that's the one thing I liked about what JJ Redick brought with him. He went to him day one and said, "We're going through you." If he has that same mentality going into Dallas, man, hey, just look out. Now, what I say in terms of the Lakers, Lakers just basically made one move for the future. That is pretty much it. He's 25 years old, about to be 26. He was the leading scorer at 25. The guys, everybody knows. I mean, trying to stop him. I mean, he's the only player I can see. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. And so he goes at you. He has that killer instinct. So that's one thing about him on offense that I love about him. So having that, if he learns or just takes anything from LeBron, as much money he put in his body, he does that. And as James said, he gets into that mentality, and James West said, where he is actually learning to pass the ball and do team fundamentals. Have a certain type of culture. We know the culture of the Golden State Warriors. They're going to pass the ball. They're going to get the ball to the open guy. Spurs back in the day, they're going to play defense, and they're going to pass the ball, and they're going to get it to the open guy. If they started getting to that in his mindset, That's when we'll see a change with Luka. Go ahead, CJ.
Hold on. Let's not act like Luca don't pass the ball. Luca
Oh,
got
whoa,
He
whoa,
Luca
whoa.
passes
be
the ball.
Luca
I
getting
don't think
triple
nobody
No,
double.
we're
said that.
saying team. No,
Yeah.
you gotta listen. It's
It's
team fundamentals
the
where you pass the ball
offense.
to the
Now,
open guy, not one on one all the time.
now,
I
now,
mean, we know he
here,
can score.
now, here's the thing. Now, this is what I was gonna say though. I promise you, I love Luca as a player. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. Chicago is my team.
Uh-oh.
But I'm a fan of players. I'm a fan of
Okay.
players. I'm a fan of Steph. I'm a fan of LeBron. I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm a
I
fan of
got you,
players.
family.
So I got a Luca jersey. I got my Luca jersey here, right? So I promise you, I want to know where his mentality is going to be at next year. If Luca shows up next
Mhm.
year at 240, everybody look out. Just go ahead and give him the MVP. He is going to everybody's because you're talking about his weight. This man has been doing scoring like this, doing the James Harden step back since he's been in the league. He's been an offensive juggernaut. Okay, you want let him drop 30 pounds. Let him get what you said, that LeBron mindset. If he comes back around 240, 250, give him the MVP because everybody just look out. It's gonna be Luca everywhere.
Yeah,
Legend.
I didn't even know Luca had a weight problem.
I didn't either.
Me neither.
Hey, they said, "Oh man, he's got a weight problem." I said, "Well, he ain't playing like it. Like him and Joker make it look like it ain't nothing."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say he definitely
Both
takes care of
Slovenian.
himself a little bit better than what Zion does.
Mhm.
Zion, because he's a high riser with that weight, it's only going to wear and tear on your body over time.
Yeah.
And CJ,
Yeah.
Mhm.
nobody's questioning his passing ability. If you want to go over the stats, triple double, 9 point whatever assists a game for entire season. This year he's probably averaged about 7. I ain't really been looking at his stats, but I
Yes.
know that's what he stays on. He stays on that. Rebounding the ball, being like a LeBron type, 25, 7 and 7 type of guy, but he does it 25, 8 and 8
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
average. So we know he does all that. But it's a mindset, a Golden State mindset, passing the ball to the open man, moving the ball, not having it in your hands the whole time
Hey,
for you to have to make all the decision and take all the shots.
I agree.
Yeah.
James, rebuttal for you. I agree exactly with what you're saying. I think that's going to come down to who the coach is too. The coach has got to change, make an offense that is conducive, and don't sit there and say, "Hey, Luka, just go out there and make it happen."
I
Because
agree.
I think that's what they did against LeBron. Remember, they said early in LeBron's career, "Hey, LeBron, just figure it out." You know,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna get the ball to LeBron. We're gonna get the
Yeah,
ball to
Wes.
Luka.
Well,
Let them
I
figure
want
it
to
out.
point out that I think that the Spurs also, they didn't give up any young talent. They still have everybody that they drafted. They also have in the next 3 drafts 2 number 1 picks still. They didn't give away any number 1 picks. And
Oh,
they
that's
fell to
gonna
the
be.
Hawks. And
Yes.
the Hawks right now are, I think, 9th, 10th, 12th, somewhere around there. I mean, they're pretty bad. They're not Pelican Jazz bad, but they're around there.
Yeah.
So they have a chance to even add more pieces around Wemby and all, and
Mhm.
they look a lot better for the future. The
Yes.
Kings can win now with what they have with Sabonis, Levine, and look, Levine. Yeah, he's been hurt, but the man is having a career year. And Monk and those guys, they can flat out play ball. They're probably the best 5 defensively in the NBA right now, and can score. But I get it. You have generational talent with 2 generations of talent with LeBron. It's going to work out. They're going to find another piece. The trade deadline is in about
Yeah, we
48
still got.
hours.
Yeah, still got.
And I think their GM said it best. He was like, "Look, we're not just going to go out, and like it's a knee slap reaction here and get a big. We're going to find somebody. If that takes the off season, it takes the off season." But I feel like LeBron, with the way he takes care of himself and all, and this might actually help his longevity out by bringing him. Reeves has mainly been the guy, if you've been watching the Lakers, bringing the ball up. about 39-40% of the time, Reeves is bringing that ball up. But uh, I think, again, I think everybody's pretty much a winner with this trade. Yeah, blindside a lot of folks. I think the Lakers are going to be fine. And I said earlier, I could see them going after Steven Adams or some other. I mean, that's a possibility. It can get them, through this year, but they're really going to have to think big when it comes to, the draft 2025 or what they're going to do or who they can bring in. But they got the money. They'll figure it out.
It's a very
Hey,
hot
to tell
topic. I
you,
will say that. Go ahead, James.
yeah, to tell you the truth, Lakers are a winner in this trade. Getting a talent like
Oh,
Luka,
absolutely.
yeah,
Heck yeah.
they're a
Yeah.
winner.
Absolutely.
You need
Yeah,
a
think of the
player.
revenue.
Yeah,
I mean, when you think overseas, how many people are wearing, Luka and Joker? I mean, it's a huge market.
Oh yeah, it's a
I
big
mean,
market.
they're going to bring in millions and millions off of merchandising and all. I mean, it's going to be it's definitely a win. Luka's probably going to be in a couple of films. I think he'll be all right.
All right, so we will end out the show tonight on this last question. So Anthony Edwards stated that the Mavericks traded away the best scorer in the game at 25. Then he said also that anyone can be traded in the league at this point. Do you agree with him? Wes, I'll start with you, and then I go to CJ, and then end with James.
I think the Lakers proved it. I mean, I think right there, I think the Lakers and the Mavs proved it. It is a business. I mean, just when you think you have a player's bargain and all that, collectively you can say, well, no trade clause, whatever, this and that, I have to waive it. But ultimately, it was kind of like yeah, the owners are like, yeah, see, we can do that. We did that. It's,
Right.
I get it. And I think Luka, he probably is one of the better, or if not the best. He was the best scorer last year, you know. He averaged roughly, I think it was like 33, 34 points a game. I mean, so yeah, he can ball out. He can play. Um, he can score. He can use his body, to create shots, and he can step away and create shots on his own. He just needs to limit kind of these dumb little turnovers and trying to force stuff. And I think that's gonna help where he's at now. I think JJ can help him out with that, and LeBron. But absolutely, I agree with
You
him.
believe
I
that?
agree with what he said.
Okay. CJ, what you got?
Oh, I agree. I agree. You're able to trade franchise generational pieces like that.
Yeah.
Then yeah, anybody is on the chopping block. It's a matter of do you fit their program? Crazy thing is, now that I heard more about that Luka trade, they said, I didn't know what's his name, Mark Cuban. Then I didn't know he sold most of his shares of
Yes, he
the
did.
teams,
He did
right?
that. Yep.
Now Mark had already said. Mark said it years prior. He learned from before, not that he wasn't going to trade. That's why he kept Dirk so long. He didn't want to, and was it Steve Nash? He could have had Steve Nash and Dirk. You see what I'm saying? So he learned, hey, I better keep some talent. If you saw what I put into our chat, you saw that at one point in time, they could have had Porzingis, Luka, and Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
All three are star players,
Oh yeah.
or essential players for where they're at now. The Celtics, Boston won the championship. Why? Because Porzingis came back healthy and nobody could guard him. Jalen Brunson took the Knicks deep into the playoffs until, you know what I'm saying, because of his play. And then same thing with Luka. Dallas had all three at one point in time.
They did.
So it's amazing to sit here and say that, to see these GMs make these decisions like this, and you trade away, great teams. But yeah, what he said was true. If you're able to trade away Luka, possible MVP for the league, Yeah, anybody's tradable.
What do you say, James?
Yeah, same thing. Anybody's tradable, but you got to look at what makes them tradable. What's going to allow this to happen in the future is having multiple teams trade, like a 3 teams trade, like we just saw, because there has to be many teams working together to be able to make the pieces work. So as long as teams are willing together work together, everybody can get the pieces they need. So yeah, we'll definitely see more of that. But at the same time too, we got to look at another thing, that this trade did not happen just because Dallas said, "Oh, we just got to move on from Luka." I think something had to happen in-house where they probably figured that we have to do this, because if we don't, we're probably going to lose them anyway, whether it's disagreements or
Right.
whatever, or whether they say, "Hey, you need to condition yourself," and he says, "No, I ain't conditioning myself. I'm doing fine. I'm MVP. I'm scoring 30." You don't know what he said, and they say, "You know what? We probably need to move on because we need to somebody who's invested, who's going to listen, needs to do what he's doing, because he's probably going to go because now he's upset or mad or whatever." We don't know what the deal is.
Right.
But there
We really
are
don't.
ways now to move these stars and get another star that you want. Because if you really look at it, Dallas also acquired a 2029 or something like that first
Yeah.
round pick also in the process. So now you got an all-star, center, and you got an all-star point guard, and you got a first round pick also in the future. So you just they're gonna make it work. As long as you can make it work, get what you need, get what you want for these all-stars, it's gonna work out for any team.
I think this was an easy question, but as well, even in that trade, as you said, tradable. I know we didn't mention it. Well, somebody did mention it earlier, but man, Christie is still like with the Lakers. They have him now, so it's just like, not only did you give up, you know, AD, but for the Lakers, I mean, Christie, man, he's up and coming. He comes off the bench, so we don't get a chance to see him a lot. I'm pretty sure somewhere down the line, we're gonna get a chance to see a lot more of him in Dallas and playing more minutes. And let's see how he plays then. And if that happens, somewhere down the line, they're gonna be saying and talking about this. Lakers actually came up in a way, unless the only way they'll say it was a failure. If Luka doesn't bring a championship, then they're gonna look at it as a failure, as a trade.
Well,
Even as great as he is, that's one thing about the Lakers. If you don't bring a ring to the Laker Nation, it's just
yeah,
that's the way they're
but
gonna
you
look
know
at it.
what? But in order to bring a ring, you got to give him something to work with.
That's true.
Exactly.
You
That's
can't
true.
give him eight. LeBron got damn near 2
I
feet
got
out the
2 years for
door.
him. Yes,
Two
exactly. He
two
got two
feet
more
out
years.
the door with
This
LeBron.
year and next year. I don't see him going any
Yeah,
further.
so you got to give Luka something to work with if
Right.
you're going to sit there and say, "Hey, Luka, you failed us." You know what I'm saying? What I blame the Lakers about is y'all traded away a lot of good pieces that ended up being great players for other teams.
Oh yeah,
And we saw
we
them,
definitely
and
did.
I was like, Lakers, why did y'all let go of so many of those good players?
And not
But
only let go, I mean, why did we not draft a player like Tatum? We had a chance, but we picked somebody else, and look where they are now.
yeah,
But I won't go any that further. But this should be a great weekend. We got
Oh,
the Super Bowl,
Papa.
so we'll come up and we'll see did Mahomes actually do it. We'll see how this trade turns out, and the trade deadline is going to be ending on Thursday. We'll see how that turns out as well. I expect to see some more trades come up, possibly from the Lakers again, but because they don't have a center.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for watching the Level Up Sports Talk show. If you like us, please hit the like button, and subscribe to us. We'll greatly appreciate it. You guys have a blessed week.
All right, level up, fellas.
yeah.